All right, we're going to dive into an idea today that's, well, it's simple, it's powerful, and honestly, it's a little weird at first. It comes from the ancient Stoics, and it pretty much says that everything we think about problems is just plain wrong.
So let's just start with this. Think about that one thing that's bugging you right now. You know the one. The thing you're avoiding, maybe it's even keeping you up at night. Now, what if I told you that problem isn't a problem at all? What if it's actually your biggest advantage?
You know, most of us, myself included, kind of operate on this hidden belief. It's this little lie we tell ourselves, that a good life is supposed to be a smooth one, right? No bumps in the road. So we spend all this time and energy trying to pave this perfect obstacle-free path. And then we get so bent out of shape when, surprise, surprise, something gets in our way.
But what if that's just the wrong goal? What if we're playing the game completely wrong? There's this 2,000-year-old way of thinking that just flips the whole thing upside down. It comes from the Stoics, and let me tell you, they saw the world in a totally different way.
And this right here, this single quote from the Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius, this is the whole thing in a nutshell. The impediment to action advances action, what stands in the way becomes the way. Just let that sit for a second. It sounds like a riddle, right? It's not a typo. He's literally saying that the thing blocking you isn't something to go around. It is the way forward.
Okay, so how in the world do you actually do that? Because it's not just some positive thinking mantra. The Stoics were super practical. They gave us a framework, a 3-part discipline for turning any mess into a masterpiece. It breaks down into perception, action, and will, and they all work together. Get these 3 right, and you're golden.
All right, first up, perception. This one is huge. It's all about how you choose to see the things happening around you. And honestly, it's the most important step because if your perception is off, the other 2 don't even matter.
Think about it. When something goes wrong, what's our default reaction? We panic, right? The little voice in our head starts screaming, "Oh no, this is a disaster, I'm ruined." But the Stoic approach to perception, it's totally different. It's calm, it's objective. It changes that inner script to something like, okay, this is the situation. It's not good, it's not bad, it just is. So what's my next move? It's about deciding that you're not going to be a victim of the situation.
And this isn't some ancient theoretical fluff. It works. Take a guy like John D. Rockefeller. Back in 1857, there was this massive financial crash. I mean, people were freaking out, losing everything. But Rockefeller, who was just a kid at the time, he stayed calm. He looked at all that chaos and didn't see disaster. He saw a classroom. He literally called it his school of adversity. And that simple shift in perception, that's what let him spot opportunities that everyone else was too busy panicking to see.
So once you've got your perception straight, that brings us to part 2, action. Because look, seeing things clearly is great, but if you just sit there, what's the point? This is about what you actually do.
And again, what's the default here? We get overwhelmed. We get paralyzed. That voice in our head goes, "This is too big. I don't even know where to start." But the discipline of action changes that question. Instead of staring at the whole giant, terrifying mountain, you just ask, okay, what's one small thing I can do right now? What's the very next step? It's all about breaking it down and just getting the ball rolling.
Now the key here is that it can't just be any action. It has to be the right kind of action. That means you got to come at it with energy, not just going through the motions. You have to be persistent because let's be real, your first try probably won't work. You need to be pragmatic. Forget the perfect solution, just find a solution that works. And through it all, you're always looking for that little sliver of opportunity hidden in the chaos.
And that leads us to the 3rd and final piece. And this might be the hardest of all. It's will. This is your inner fortress. It's the one part of you that nothing and nobody can touch. It's what you've got left when perception and action just aren't enough to get you through.
When stuff happens that is completely out of your control, our inner voice just crumbles, right? It says, this is just unbearable. I can't do this. Will is what changes that script. It's about acceptance. The new dialogue becomes, okay, this happened. I can't change it. So I'm going to make the absolute best of it. And look, this isn't just giving up. It's not resignation. It's an active, powerful choice to endure and find the good in a situation you didn't ask for.
And there's this incredible story about Thomas Edison that just nails what will is. In 1914, a massive fire destroys his entire factory. I mean, everything, his life's work, just gone up in smoke. A total, complete catastrophe. But his reaction? He just calmly turns to his son and says,
Go get your mother and all her friends. They'll never see a fire like this again." And the next day, a reporter asked him what he was going to do, and he just said, "We've just got rid of a lot of rubbish." Can you believe that? And within a few weeks, he had the factory partly running again. Now that is will. Okay, look, Rockefeller, Edison, these are great stories, but they're old stories. So it's totally fair to be thinking, does this ancient philosophy stuff actually work today in the real world, or is it just a nice feel-good idea?
Well, it turns out there's science to back it up. A study from just a few years ago looked at this exact question. They took a group of people who were, chronic worriers and put them through some stoic training. The result? They saw an 18% drop in what's called rumination. That's that toxic cycle where you just replay negative thoughts in your head over and over. It's a huge factor in things like depression, so an 18% drop, that's a big deal.
But it gets better. It wasn't just about reducing the negative. The same people also saw a 15% increase in something called self-efficacy. That's basically a fancy term for how much you believe you can handle whatever life throws your way. So this training literally made people more confident in their ability to cope with stress, while also making them less likely to dwell on the bad stuff.
And it's not just happening in a lab. This stuff is like a secret weapon for some of the highest performers out there. We're talking NFL teams like the New England Patriots and the Seattle Seahawks, who've used these ideas to win Super Bowls. We're talking about top college coaches, major league managers, even the founders of some of the biggest startups in Silicon Valley. They are all using these ancient ideas to get a very real modern-day edge.
So when you put it all together, that's the whole picture. You've got perception, action, and will. And the real magic happens when you realize they're not like a checklist, 1, 2, 3. It's more like a single, fluid mindset for dealing with life, which is always going to have challenges.
It all circles back to that one core idea. Look, you and I, we don't get to choose a lot of what happens to us, but we always get to choose how we respond. And those things that feel like they're blocking our path, the frustrations, the failures, the absolute garbage days, they aren't getting in the way of your story. They are your story. What stands in the way becomes the way.
So I want to leave you with this final thought. Go back to that problem we talked about at the beginning, the one that's been on your mind, the one you just wish would go away. What if you looked at it differently? What if it's not here to stop you? What if it's actually here to teach you something, to make you stronger? What if that thing you see as a solid brick wall is actually a bridge, ready to take you exactly where you need to go?